What was that? Oh, the whole the background story how about me. Okay. Before I even start talking about me, because I'm no big deal. Like I'm not that important or whatever. I think what I learned during that time, I think that is much more important because I think people can relate to that a lot more and they can probably get something out of that. I just remember, I was like 14 years old, just starting out with basketball. When I really started getting focused with basketball. Just thinking, I had this huge dream to play college basketball, to just be a great player, someone people respected and everyone knew about, and you walk into a gym and people are like, oh, I know him, I saw him, that type of thing. When I started when I was 14, I was slow, I wasn't good, I couldn't dribble, that's for sure, and I didn't know how the heck was I gonna make it where I wanted to. It just didn't seem possible. And then I remember I'd even go to the gym on certain days practicing, and you just have an awful day, and you go from thinking it's going to be really hard to get there to I'm never going to get there. It's never going to happen. Fortunately, I never let those thoughts linger for more than a couple seconds, because after that I'm thinking, you know what, I am going to do this. It's going to happen. And then the next big thing that I picked up during that time, in the early years, was, that things really aren't as hard or as complicated as they're made out to seem. I'd hear things about people doing things with, in basketball, and I'd be like, man, how do they do that? I can never do that. How do guys get that good? And you hear stories that they're spending 8 hours in the gym, and I'm like, I can't do that. Why would I even want to spend 8 hours in the gym? Like, I want to do this so badly. I want to make it to that level, but is that even worth it? What about the rest of life? And what I learned during the time is that you don't need 8 hours at all. You don't. You need, if you can go 3 hours a week, 4 hours a week, you go hard, you see huge improvements. And that was a huge thing I picked up on, is that people make things seem a lot harder than they actually are. I'm genetically, I'm not very gifted. I'm not like special in any way or anything like that. It was just a combination of really working hard, but more importantly, was I worked really smart. I was efficient. My workouts were effective, obviously. They were intense, and I knew what I needed to do. I got in, gym, got my work done, and I left, and I went on with the rest of my life. And it worked, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. So how it all started. I was at the end of 8th grade. I got cut from the 8th grade basketball team. I know, it's crazy. I thought I should have made it. The coach obviously didn't. I was borderline anyways. I thought I would have been like 3rd string, and then at the end of that year, I kind of decided I was really still steaming that I got cut, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna play college basketball. That was what I said to myself. I'm 14 years old, and I'm like, I'm gonna play college basketball. It's not that hard. I didn't say I was the smartest 14-year-old. I was just had a lot of dreams. So at that point, I just decided, all right, I'm gonna do this. Now I got to figure out how to do it, and that took me a while to figure out. Like I've talked about in other videos and other interviews and things. Just figuring out, what practice routines are going to help me, what's not going to work, how often should I be playing, how often should I be training, what type of training should I be doing. And at first, it was a lot of, pardon my French, it was a lot of crap. I worked so hard and I wasn't getting any better, and I didn't really understand why. But I kept chugging. I didn't let any of that affect me. I kept chugging. I kept working, and I started to find things. That hey, this drill actually helps me. This drill, and around that time, when I was 15, 16, people started seeing me training so hard on myself that they were like, "Hey, can we, do you want to train my kid or things like that?" And that's how I started actually training basketball players, because I had spent so much time learning and trying different things, and I had found some things that work. And I improved myself a lot, so people saw that and they were like, "Oh, maybe he knows what he's doing." But anyways, kind of jumping ahead there. after that summer, between 8th and ninth grade, I got to ninth grade, and I just worked my butt off all summer, and things were slowly starting to get better. And I busted my butt, and I made the freshman basketball team. Like, whoopsie-doo. And I sat on the bench most of the year, barely ever played. When I did play, I think I always hit a three-pointer, at least one tray ball every time I got in. That was kind of cool. But I kept working before practice, after the season, kept training my butt off. Come JV year, 10th grade, I made the JV team, started a bunch of games, and actually scored a lot of points that year. There were games where I would hit 6 or 7 three-pointers and do a lot of other things, and my handles were pretty good then. They weren't like they are now, obviously. I was always a really good shooter, though. So, and I'm starting to train more people now, and I'm getting better, and I started to play with some college guys at that point, and started playing even a couple overseas professional guys, and I started playing with those guys, and I even started training some of them, because they were seeing the improvements I was making. They saw the drills I was working on with myself, and they were impressed. So they're willing to give a young guy who works hard a shot, and I definitely appreciate that. So after 10th grade, 11th grade, keep working. I'm getting smarter. I'm getting pretty good now. And at that point, I was a really good shooter and a decent ball handler. And I was working on other things. I was always in great shape. I was getting stronger, getting faster, getting quicker. But my handles I kind of neglected. I was dependable, but I wasn't anything great or anything like that. So sometime 11th grade, I think it was near the end of my junior season, and I had started some games that year, and I was playing pretty good. So I decided that's kind of when I came up with the Basement Ball Handling Chronicles that a lot of the guys, hopefully online, have gotten their hands on and started to put that to work. That's when I came up with that. Started doing it every day, 13 minutes, and all of a sudden, it really, really helped. My handles went from just dependable, and I got really good, and the coaches noticed it right away. I'd be in practice, and before I would have just gone right hand speed dribble, and maybe if they put pressure on me, just back them down, run the offense or something. Now, cross, boom, crossing them over, getting in the lane, pulling it back out, doing some really, really cool things, and felt great. Felt so good to finally, I'm putting it all together now. It's all coming together, and I think I owe a lot of that to that little routine I put together and just being consistent with it, which goes back to the working smart thing. So after my junior year, I got an AAU team. I'm getting better. I'm pretty good by then. I'm playing with a lot of college guys. I'm playing pretty good in high school. So I got hooked up with an AAU team, which was one of the top 3 or 4 teams in Michigan. We traveled around the country, and I played pretty good. I had some good games, I had some bad games. It was good competition. I was learning more. I kept working. Come senior year of high school, wasn't exactly what I planned for. I had some trouble with the coaches, but I kept working. I did have some standout games, and I got a lot of attention for those games. And it didn't go great exactly as I planned. It went really well, but most importantly, I kept working. I kept training people, and I kept getting smarter about it. So after my senior year, I played some AAU ball again. Did really well with that. Started all the games and did a lot of good things. And then, it just worked out. I kept working at it after high school, and kept training and everything. Kept getting smarter with it. Really, really kept getting better right around then. I was kind of a late bloomer, and I really grew up then. And I got hooked up with my college team. After that, I sent out some tapes, and a couple schools got back to me. We talked about it, and it worked out. Worked out really well. And that was the journey. That was 5 or 6 years in the making, just working hard, just working smart, and things actually worked out. Not everyone is going to be able to do that. I understand that some things are out of your control. Things are political. Like I said, my senior year of high school didn't work out like I planned, but I kept working at it, and I didn't give up. And good things tend to happen to people who don't give up, and that's probably the best advice I can give to everyone out there who has dreams of playing high school basketball, playing college basketball, or anything further. That it's not impossible if you keep working and you work smart enough. There's always a chance that good things can happen for you.